Greetings everyone, Dean here if you're new to the channel. I thought I would just come out today, beautiful November 20th day here in Windsor, Ontario, and I just thought I would come out and talk about my bike packing kitchen. I've been getting a lot of questions recently about different things I'm doing from a lot of people that are probably a little newer to bike packing and touring. So I thought I would start making maybe a series of videos on camp kitchen, what's in my bags and stuff like that. So the first video I'm going to do, as I said, is on my bike packing touring kitchen. Okay, so one thing I'm not going to do is like break down and get into the specs of everything that I'm using for that. I might do some other videos in the future where I talk about specific things like my stove and different things like that, like the bags. But for right now, I'm just talking about how I do it, what I'm using after about 5 years of kind of trial and error. When I first started doing the bike packing, I come from a cooking background. So my thoughts were earlier on, I was going to do all this fancy cooking and make a bunch of really cool videos and all that stuff. But I came to realize that after a long day, really the main thing you want to do is get some food into your gut, and you're really not looking to do some fancy gourmet cooking. So this is where I've kind of settled on after 5 years. So I'm just going to go through things a little bit at a time, explain a couple things, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, or if anybody has anything to add, please let me know. I'd be glad to hear it. One thing I want to also add is that I'm not going to be talking about diet. Diets are going to be specific to everybody. And if I'm being honest, I don't always do the best at eating a nutritional diet. Something I'm working on and getting better all the time. It's even more difficult to eat properly when you're on the road. So this is more of the things I'm using. And like I said, after 5 years, this is kind of where it's evolved to. So let's get into it. All right, so one of the things I use is the Jetboil stove. I know there's other options out there, the MSR, Pocket Rocket, all that stuff. There's going to be systems that other people are using that they would prefer over the Jetboil, and that's cool. This is what I got at the very beginning. So I've had this stove since 2019, and it has not failed me. It works great. Came out and had a little coffee today, as you'll see. Boils water lightning fast. That's what it's really known for, as well as with the Jetboil Mini Mo, which is what I have. It is also really good at lowering it down to a fine simmer so that you can cook different foods. Like when you're using the frying pan that I'll show you in a second, you can lower it down if you need to fry something without burning it. It works really well. Definitely one of the features I like about it is that. So I can't say enough about it. As far as price goes, it's right up there with any of the top brands. I think it goes for around $250 depending where you source it out. But this is the Mini Mo. You can get one that has a larger container on it. And yeah, that's the only other thing I might change in the future, is maybe get the bigger pot that goes with it. So, but otherwise, guys, I can't recommend the Jetboil enough. It works really well. Like I said, the other thing I'm using in conjunction with that is I also got the Jetboil frying pan. A little expensive. It is non-stick, and going forward, I think I might replace it. The non-stick, you just have to worry about it too much. So going forward, I might replace it with a good stainless steel frying pan or a titanium frying pan if I could source out one at an affordable price. But as far as it goes, it's worked really well. I think it was about $60. It is a really good frying pan. And even though I don't use a frying pan all the time, it is something really nice to have. I really do like to eat hot dogs and sausages, and it's good to do it in here. You could cut things up and fry them in the pot, but it's just not as effective. So a good frying pan is very useful. This is an ideal size, I find, but you can get smaller ones. But to be practical, I find that this is, I think, 8-inch, I believe, and it works really well. Okay, so the other thing I use, and as I said, you'll have seen this, I made a coffee, and this is my French press. I do use instant coffees. I didn't have any packets with me to bring to show you, but I do use instant coffee, the Nescafe that has all the cream and sugar and all that stuff in it. But I do prefer a French press coffee. It's just sometimes, just like going back to the not wanting to cook a fancy meal, sometimes in the morning, or maybe when I get to camp and I want a coffee, I just don't feel like going through the process of doing the French press and then waiting for it to steep a bit and all that. So, but this is my preferred go-to method when I am using coffee. This is a GSI Outdoors. There's a bigger version that, again, I think I'm going to get because this only makes about one good sized cup of coffee, and then there's a tiny bit left over. So in conjunction with that, I use a Camelback insulated mug, and it works really well. There was a plastic mug that came with this, but I can't stand it, to be honest with you. So got this, and it works really well, and this goes inside one of my other bags. So really, it's important to have a good cup of coffee in the morning, and what you put it in my opinion, matters. So I've really enjoyed switching to this. I just got this spring of this year, and works really well. Okay guys, one thing I wanted to show you as well is my solo pot, stainless steel pot that I use to cook soups and different things like that in, mashed potatoes, different prepared meals, and I seem to have forgot it. I thought this was it, not realizing it wasn't big enough. This is a twig stove. I'm not going to get into that too much because I just haven't used it a lot. I'll take it out and show you some pictures of it, but when I get home, I'll get the pot out and take some shots of it and insert it here. But yeah, really good pot. Stainless steel, has worked really well. Affordable price. It fits inside my bags perfectly with all my other stuff too. So, all right, other things that I use and that I really like, and just simple things. I carry this cutting board. It just slides into the back of the pannier. The pannier doesn't take up any room at all, and don't use it a lot, but it's nice when you're in a place where you don't have a picnic table or anywhere, instead of trying to do things in the dirt. You can cut up onion, whatever you're using, on this little cutting board. And then another thing I just purchased late last year, I believe it was, when I was touring with Jacques, is this collapsible bowl. And I'm really glad I got it, guys. It works really well. And again, just crushes down, folds down to nothing, and slides in the back of my pannier with the cutting board. And it's something I'm glad I got. It's nice to have that instead of eating out of the pot. Just allows you to have different things in there, and I really like it. Works really good. Okay, another thing I'll talk about is my Katadyn water filter. The water filter is something you're not going to use a lot, depending on the tour, of course, right? They're out west. When I first started, I used my first one a lot, and it worked really well. But it's nice to have in case you are in a situation where you do need to filter some water. In fact, while I was touring with Reinhardt, I needed some water, and sure enough, we stopped a nice, beautiful little creek flowing across the road, and filtered some water, and I had water good to go. Tastes absolutely fantastic. So there's different systems out there, the Sawyer straw, different things, but from what I've seen and heard, and from my experience, the Katadyn Be Free works really well. Another product that I use a lot, and I will highly recommend for anybody that wants to carry any large amounts of water, is these 1 liter Nalgene bottles. The nice thing about the Nalgene product is that they don't hold odor, and they don't get moldy. They're really good for that kind of thing, where if you leave a little water in there by accident, you're not going to have to throw it out because it gets black mold in it and all that stuff. They're not only good for that, they're really good for all these little bottles: salt, pepper, liquids like olive oil, dish soap, all that kind of stuff. These Nalgene bottles, if you go on any outdoor store, if you're in the States, REI or Dick's Sporting Goods, in Canada, Mountain Equipment Co-op, and then various other like Cabela's and a couple other outdoor places, you'll find those products there. You can usually buy a little kit with all the different sizes. There's several different sizes, large, all the way from really large ones to really small ones that are good for spices and things like that, even keeping aspirin and things like that as well. Go to their website, check it out. I think you'll be really surprised and happy with the different products that Nalgene offers. All right, guys, and then it's just the little things that I carry, like knives. This is a Mora companion knife, I believe it is, and it is an excellent knife. You can get it on most outdoor sites that carry their brand, and it is literally only $30 Canadian. Excellent knife. And then just other little knives like this Outbound knife. I think I paid $10 for it like 6 years ago, and it has held up great. Works wonderful. And then it's just all the little things, guys, that you're gonna adapt to your own system. Little things I've come across. If you're into having fires at camp, this is just a little, fire starter sticks they're called, and I got them at the dollar store. So I paid $2 for this, and it'll last probably several fires, like a half dozen to 10 maybe. I don't know, I'm just guessing. I never did a study on it, but $2, awesome to get fire started. Only need a small little piece. And then just all the little things, guys, like utensils, my spork. I like to carry several different ones. I got my spork, I got a real fork, and I got a real spoon. This is more just for emergencies, stirring coffee, and then this is for real eating. I just prefer like your traditional stainless steel utensils when it comes down to actually eating. So, and then it's always good to carry around a towel. All this stuff fits conveniently, and I'll show you what stuff goes in what, but most of the stuff up here fits in these two bags, and then the stuff across the front all fits in my pannier bags, as I said. But yeah, a towel, something abrasive for cleaning the pot. It is easy to burn stuff, especially with the stainless steel, so having something to clean them is always handy. And then just little things, can openers. It is always good to carry a good supply of Ziplocs. I have a freezer size ones in here, as well as just standard size, and they come in handy when you go in stores if you buy anything. I use them a lot to put electronics in that are, if I'm gonna get caught in a heavy rain, even if the bags are waterproof, it's always good to foolproof your system. So carrying a little stack of Ziplocs that can be tucked in anywhere is always a good idea. And as far as fires go, like I mentioned with the fire starter sticks there, another really handy thing I got, and I got it from one of the outdoor stores, is they're called pocket bellows. So it looks like an antenna, but literally it's for blowing in the fire. So that's what you do. It's used to stoke the fire. Works great. It's so much better than trying to get down there on your hands and knees and blow on the fire and then end up choking on it or getting hot from the flames. So just another handy little item I picked up. All right. Last but not least, and something that I just haven't used a lot, guys, is this grill. It's a really good grill, but again, it's just one of those things where I just haven't been grilling a lot at night when I get home, when I get into camp. So it's really good. It's made out of titanium, works really well. I have used it. That's why I'm getting soot all over my hands right now, but I'm not sure that it's going to come with me on the Great Divide Mountain Bike route, just because it does not get used enough. If I'm thinking about using my smaller Ortlieb panniers on the back, and if I do, I can't fit this inside the back. If I use the large ones, this will definitely come. But it's just one of those things, again, that if you can fit it and bring it, it just weighs nothing. It's titanium, right? So if you can fit it and bring it, and you get the opportunity to have a nice steak or some chicken or whatever, it's nice to have a grill. But if you camp out a lot of campgrounds, usually the fire pits have a built-in grill too. So that's kind of why I also haven't used this a lot. But again, nice to have a little grill if you have the space for it. All right, so as I said, most of this stuff, so starting at the top, most of this stuff, not including that. Okay, guys, most of this stuff starting from the top, the gas, all fits in here. And then the stuff that's flat, like the collapsible bowl, the cutting board, the frying pan, and the grill slide into the backs or the front of both of my larger panniers that go on the back. So really convenient. The salsa, what I'm putting, the stuff that goes on the forks, these are salsa EXP Expedition, I believe it is, and they work really well. These bags have been excellent. The only thing I kind of wish is that the diameter was just a tiny bit bigger. It's a little hard to get the jet boil in and out, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. Price-wise, all this salsa stuff, this EXP stuff, was really, really affordable, and it's very durable. I'm not going to say, I'll put it on the bottom, I can't remember, but I'm going on for sure 3 years with these, and zero signs of failure at all. A little faded, I guess, but I'm not too sure, because it's something that's happened over time if it has. But yeah, like I said, really good, these salsa bags, as well as the salsa Expedition or EXP cradles that are on my fork. All this stuff has worked really well, this system. When I do tour, I'll put a picture up here. I do sometimes when I tour and I'm maybe not doing as much off-road, I'll use my different rack on the front and my small Ortlieb panniers on the front, and then all this stuff here will go into those two panniers on the front. It's just for rougher stuff. I prefer to have these that are a snugger fit to the fork that work really well. So anyways, guys, there's a lot of things that go into all this, and I'm sure some things will evolve, but I'm pretty much set with this main stuff, and I can tell you that this system works really well. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna give you my last thoughts on the camp kitchen and what my thoughts are on it. And the best advice that I could give to anybody is make it as simple as you can. Make it so that when you get to camp, it's as easy as possible for you to get started with your meals when you're ready to eat. If it's a pain in the butt, you're more likely to eat crappy food, stuff you don't have to cook, instead of actually taking the stuff out. So really simplifying it and not trying to get too carried away with your meals is, in my opinion, the best thing to do. So find out what the diet you like is. I watch people, Ryan Van Duzer, who doesn't have to carry a stove, any of this stuff. He doesn't drink coffee, which is crazy in my opinion, but he doesn't drink coffee and he has an iron stomach. He lives off like beans, frijoles, that's his thing. He lives off that stuff. So he literally does not carry a stove or anything. So that's different. But it's just going to depend on your diet. If you have different dietary needs, you might have to carry some extra stuff, but keep it simple. Stove, pot, French press if you need it. If you can go with just the instant coffee, then you could eliminate that altogether. But yeah, try and keep it as simple as possible is my opinion. Like I said, I brought this twig stove instead of the pot. This is something I carried at first, and I think the one summer I used it once. So it's something I eliminated from the setup, but if I can get into the canoe tripping like I want to, it's something I'll take because you can have a little fun with it. But when space is an issue or a concern, then this is one thing that you could eliminate, and I did. All right, so what it comes down to is just setting yourself up for success, just like anything else about bike touring or bike packing. Anything that's going to be easier for you to do, you're more inclined to do it. So figure out what works for you, dial it in, and then kind of stick with it. Don't be too influenced by what other people are saying. And I know that's ironic I'm saying that because I'm making a video about what I do. But when I make these videos, they're more just a suggestion or to give you an idea of what I'm doing, especially for people that are new to this. There's so many videos out there and they want to tell you that you need to have this or you need to have that. If you use something and it works for you, then stick with that. That's the best advice I can give. Okay guys, let's wrap it up from here. Like I said, I think I'm going to do some other videos as far as like what's in my bags, my setup going forward for the Great Divide mountain bike route. I think I'm going to do a little video on the tools I carry and how I maintain my drivetrain, which is really the biggest thing you have to do with the bike on a bike packing or touring adventure is the drivetrain. Most of the stuff I never have to fool around with, tune up my gears, nothing like that. But keeping the drivetrain clean is huge. It's going to make your riding so much easier and make all your stuff last a lot longer. The more you can clean your chain and cassette and chain ring, the longer that stuff's going to last, especially on a 1x system. So I'm going to have some videos coming out throughout the winter, so stay tuned for that. Anyways guys, let's wrap it up from here. I hope you guys found this video informative and maybe learned something. If you have anything to add, I'd love to hear it. So anyways guys, I hope you're getting out there and doing something you love, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.